Alright, response video to Cash 22. I don't know exactly why it's labeled that. But anyway, and I guess I'll talk a little bit to Jay Sounder, who's left a comment here, that, and had done a video, and there was a little bit of a mistake in it, in the sense that I don't think he quite understands what cash is. That there's, it's 1.2 trillion, not 1.1 trillion, but whatever, it doesn't matter too much. And it is actual cash. I mean, it's a commodity, it's a thing, it's just, and you can digitize it by representing it with a digit, but the cash itself would still exist. So, and it's really sort of important with the Federal Reserve and the reserve accounts, which are supposed to have cash in them. They're supposed to be cash created and cash maintained. And so when they put digits in the Federal Reserve accounts, they were effectively putting cash in that never got turned into actual cash because it hasn't been requested by the banks. And that's the only thing preventing it from being actual cash. And FDIC insurance, it's the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, I think it's called. It's to insure deposits, cash deposits. So it's supposed to be insuring checking accounts and savings accounts. It's not supposed to be insuring speculative accounts. So if you're getting more than CD interest, certificate of deposit, interest on your savings account at a bank, you're not supposed to be FDIC insured. Now this is again another part of the panic racket of 2008, where they radically increased from $50,000 I think to $250,000 the minimum amount, the maximum amount the FDIC would insure at a particular bank. So basically they did that because the Fed panicked. They realized the market was in big trouble, the integrity of these digits was in big trouble, and people would be migrating their digits to more secure digits to get FDIC insurance. And so they would be taking their money out of the stock market and putting it in more secure certificates of deposit accounts to protect it from failure. And obviously they don't want the market to crash. They don't want people to express their opinion of the market. So they prevented that opinion from being expressed by saying, no, we're going to guarantee more. And these are all just things, these are all just little murders committed in defense of the rich getting richer, and a reluctance of the government, the millionaires that run our government, to allow millionaires to be bankrupt by their bankrupt system.
Pathetically, they've been spent. There aren't any digits there. They've been spent on securities. But
right, let's just understand that if your money has been spent on securities at a bank, it's not supposed to be FDIC insured. The bank deposits, cash deposits at a bank in a savings or checking account is not supposed to be money in the stock market. It's supposed to be money in mortgages, if anything, and again, that's the extent of the speculation. That's why it only gets tiny, tiny interest, is because it's not supposed to be risk capital.
If you buy a security, somebody else gets a digit. It's just very, very hard to think about these things in real terms because they're not real.
Well, they are real, and they do represent something, and they are, as you pointed out many times before, accountants are accountants, and they are accounted for. They have a name on them, and they have a history. They're not just made out of nothing. They're not just digits. They're labeled digits.
Because this would be okay if you do it for a day. Okay? If it had any kind of time thing to it, fact is you lose all your relationship between good digits and bad digits.
Good digits and bad digits. Have you ever come across a good digit as opposed to a bad digit, or a bad digit?
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. Enron was full of bad digits. There's lots of bad digits in the economy. There's lots of stocks that are worth nothing if taken apart. There's lots of things that are bad digits. I mean, there's lots of loans that will not be paid. They're in securities right now. There's digits in securities right now on houses that burned down or foreclosed, and the loan is still in there as if it's still going to do something besides die.
Opposed to a good digit. The whole thing that we're knocking between us is I'm trying to show
Yeah,
that
yeah, a little slip of the tongue there. Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to tell you overtly and out straight up. You're fucking wrong. So go ahead and say this shit, but you're wrong.
Cash is this, guaranteed by the government, the Treasury, the Federal Reserve and FDIC.
No, I mean, cash isn't insured by FDIC. Cash is fucking cash. I mean, it doesn't need to be insured. It's already cash. Okay, we're talking about deposits. Okay, and we know that deposits are now bank digits. They're not cash anymore. They're fucking bank digits. And there's certain bank digits that are FDIC insured and other fucking bank digits that are not fucking FDIC insured. If I have an account with E-Trade, my fucking account is not FDIC insured.
Digits are this, guaranteed by the government, the Treasury, the Federal Reserve and the FDIC.
Bullshit. And there's certainly, yes, more of them than ever are now out there insuring crap. And the government got into a scheme. This is an actual scheme, people. Okay? They had a bunch of junk bonds, alright, with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They had a bunch of shit. And the only way they could sell the shit stock, instead of letting it go legitimately bankrupt, instead of saying this stuff is bankrupt, okay, they sat there and said, will FDIC insure stocks? They FDIC insured stocks, which isn't any better than saying, yes, come to Las Vegas, we'll insure your deposit. You can't lose your fucking money. I mean, that's how bad this racket is. That's how fucking dead this fucking goddamn economy is that they have to resort to this kind of bullshit to prop up, to keep up the rich. So don't tell me what FDIC insurance is. It doesn't insure the trillions of digits that are in the stock market. That's not FDIC insurance. That's not Federal Deposit Insurance. That's not insuring cash deposits. It's insuring speculative fucking money.
There's no bad cash because it's backed up by the government, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury and FDIC.
Again, it's just ludicrous to talk about the fucking goddamn FDIC backing up the cash. And obviously the only thing backing up the cash is the fucking principle that you don't fucking print money. The only thing that makes my cash worth anything is the idea that the government is not going to sit there and turn the crank on the goddamn printing press. And that's the very thing they've put at goddamn jeopardy with this stupid QE shit. So they haven't insured my cash. They are jeopardizing the cash. They are saying the cash will be worth shit because we are going to release a bunch of printed fucking money.
No bad digits because it's backed up by the government, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury and the FDIC.
Well, again, that's just plain ludicrous. Then why would it be, I mean, I'm just saying, why would they have to change the rules? Okay, if that's what the FDIC insurance was. That's not what it was. It's not its intent. It's not its charter. The only thing it was supposed to do is preserve and protect frickin' savings accounts and checking accounts. It's not supposed to be doing anything else. It's not supposed to be doing any high risk or even medium risk investing. It's supposed to be low risk investing and only low risk investing. So those are the different digits. That's the facts. That's the real world. All the digits are not FDIC insured.
You don't get good and bad digits.
Yes, you fucking goddamn do. I mean, stocks are automatically bad digits. So any digit that's labeled with Google on it or some other corporate bullshit is not FDIC insured. It's not a good digit. It's a fucking speculative digit. Speculative digits are not FDIC insured. You can't go out and buy a bunch of fucking oil stock or wheat futures with FDIC insured money. At least you can't do it fucking legally.
And so now all the really crappy digits are exactly the same as all the really good digits.
What is a really crappy digit?
A wheat future, a oil future, stock. They're all crap. They're absolute motherfucking bubble crap. Okay, all the other commodity futures are bubble crap, and the stock futures, the stock market is absolute crap. Okay, there's stocks that have a 200 to 1 ratio between the actual fucking material value of the stupid pie, how much pie there is, okay, and the equity defined by the stock price. It is not just 100 to 1, okay, 1 penny on the dollar. It's a half a fucking penny on the dollar. It's a piece of fucking shit. And the government does not insure it. And the government certainly shouldn't insure it. It's gambling money in a fucking one-armed bandit. It should have nothing to do with an individual savings account.
How would you know it was one? What you're obviously meaning is that the digit that's been invested in a security, the securities are crappy. But what I'm saying is, if the securities are crappy, then the bank's probably got enough good securities to overwhelm the bad securities.
Well, how do you have good securities if the market drops 50%? I don't see how that's quite possible. I don't think there's too many fucking stocks that are going to be going up when the market's down 50%.
But if it hasn't, if it's a bad bank, it gets taken over by the FDIC, the Treasury, Fed and government get involved, and...
Well, that's not the way it's supposed to work. That's not the way it traditionally worked. If a bank went bankrupt, it went bankrupt. Okay, there was none of this too big to fail shit. I never heard those words. Even when I was listening to Richard Nixon, I didn't hear those words come out of his mouth.
Move the digits on and the securities on to a bank that has got enough good digits to cover the or good securities to cover the bad securities.
Yeah, and we know that none of them have any such thing. So again, this is just... You're just telling me there's banks that have actual value. Oh, no, they don't. They all have bubble value. And that's the whole fucking point. And you want to pretend it's not 1929 bubble value? Go ahead and pretend it's not 1929 bubble value. But it is. Okay, in 1929, the problem was a bunch of personal debt. And I think now the problem is a bunch of corporate debt. But whatever. So the players have changed in terms of who's in debt and who's not going to be paying any of that debt. But the game is going to be the same. Is that once you start unraveling all this bankruptcy, once you start letting the bankruptcies happen, yeah, they're gonna cascade like dominoes.
Ensuring at all times that all digits can be treated equally. No good digits, no bad digits, no crappy digits.
Yeah, whatever. That's just not reality. So I don't know where you get that from. Okay, FDIC insurance does not cover stock. If you have an account and you're trading stocks on that account, you're not supposed to be FDIC insured. Those assets are not supposed to be FDIC insured. The only thing FDIC insurance, again, was created for was to protect savings deposits. Deposits intended to be cash savings.
Just digits, just like you've got just cash. Just digits are just digits, and they are, by the immense struggling of the government, the Federal Reserve, Treasury and FDIC, always equivalent to cash.
Well, I'm sorry, they're not. Okay, so you can just keep saying this. The FDIC does not make them equivalent. There was a whole bunch of legislation over the savings and loan. Remember the savings and loan scandal that predated the 2008 disaster? Well, it was because savings and loans were breaking the rules. They weren't supposed to be doing all this speculative crap. They were supposed to be just lending money in mortgage type deals. So it was supposed to be FDIC insured money being used in a traditionally sensible banking manner where you take in collateral and give people money. It wasn't supposed to be, hey, I'm George Bush's friend, give me $3 million without any collateral. So where are you getting this from? What fucking history book are you reading to tell me this is what's going on in the world? But this is not reality. This is not supposed to be reality. And again, the only thing that's made FDIC insurance at all suspect is the behavior of the Fed over the last 12 years. So don't tell me this is the way it was. Don't tell me this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it is, okay, with this new banking, you call it, this crookery, this theft, this shystery that's going on. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. This isn't the way the laws were written. This is the opposite of that. This is upside down accounting.
Digits are equivalent to cash, guaranteed by them.
Yeah, well, it's not. So, I mean, you can keep saying it. Go ahead, keep saying it. It's just not a fucking goddamn fact. Go ahead, open an E-Trade account and tell me where, show me where it says FDIC insured deposit. Show me that.
Glorious them. The same glorious them that guarantee your cash, guarantee the digits, and guarantee that they're not good, bad or indifferent. They're always equivalent to cash.
Well, again, this is just crap. I'm sorry. It's not the truth. All banks aren't the same. All bank digits aren't the same. It's just crap to tell me they are. They're not. Alright, so I'll play some of this and get back to you. I think that's a reasonable plan. I haven't watched it yet. I just saw this little part and I said, well, this is just bullshit. I have to respond to this because it's crap. Just play his bit.
Into digits has not affected the quality of the securities that have been bought. If they were crap then, they're crap now. Securities can be crap. But this is what the authorities keep such an eye on, let's say, because it's such a fuss at the moment, should be keeping such an eye on the banks. During the crisis, 2000, it never got up to 1,000 banks, but FDIC had I think it was 995 banks at one time on watch, meaning that they know exactly what their securities are invested in. And they're on watch because it was getting close to the time where the bank is insolvent. If it sold all its securities, it would not be able to cover its digits. And they're on watch for that, and if that gets passed on watch, they come in on Friday, they close them down, and on Monday the digits will have been shifted to some other bank that can have enough securities which are good to cover all the digits. It's a problem that's been prevalent for hundreds of years in banking.
Well, I'm just saying, no, it isn't hundreds of years. I'm just saying, you could not do this in 1975 or 85 or even 95. Okay, you were not going to have your money FDIC insured, your digits FDIC insured, if they were in the stock market. Nothing in the stock market was FDIC insured. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
This is why they're on top of it.
bond. I mean, investment in bonds. If I went to the bank and put in $1 million for a U.S. bond from a bank, that would be FDIC insured. You know, a bond fund. That would be insured. There was specific rules about what you could have in well, again, go look up what's in certificates of deposit, and that's what a fucking FDIC insured account looks like. And that's why an FDIC insured account gets 1% interest or 1.5% interest, where some asshole who owns stock might be getting 10% or 20%. Right? That's the difference. That's the risk taker supposed to be taking risk. The risk is without a net. Right? Isn't that how it's supposed to work? Isn't that how it worked for hundreds of years? The risk taker doesn't have a fucking net.
Thing. And so the problem is it's tradable now for something of real value when it is no value, and if it ever has to be cashed out, it's of no value because no one will pay cash for it. The only people buy it is because you have to bribe them to buy it. Now, even when they're digital, if it was so.
Okay, you can do this making faces thing. So you haven't heard about the fact that the Fed is paying, as FDIC insured, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac crap? You didn't hear about that? And that's the only way they could get people to buy the stock, was to FDIC insure the stock, to basically tell people, well, if it makes any money, you get to keep it, and if it crashes, we'll pay you a full value. You don't call that a bribe to get people to buy something that has a no value? And why is it done? Again, because we can't let somebody go bankrupt. We can't let a rich man go bankrupt. God fucking forbid.
So that's the real question.
Should we play that last little bit again? Let's go back a bit. I didn't understand a word of it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry you don't understand when we have a bond premium, we have to bribe people to buy our bonds. I'm sorry you don't understand that there's things you have to do to pretty something up. You have to put lipstick on the fucking pig if you're going to sell her as a prostitute.
I could vaguely try and translate it if I put my head in real Gary mode, but in reality, it was there.
Yeah, well, whatever. You don't think there's any stocks on the stock market that if they were really taken apart and evaluated for exactly what the hell was in that derivative or that fucking piece of shit, that somebody say, wait a minute, there's nothing in there but shit. And the only reason why people are buying it is because everybody's saying it's okay, don't worry, it's okay. She's cool. We call her Jacqueline. She's the real thing. Don't worry about it. It's not a pig with lipstick, trust me. You don't think that's going on? You don't think there aren't companies out there right now pretending to sell you, like, say, rights to an oil field in Texas? But if you really read the document, you just bought a rock, a little rock in Arkansas.
Now for something of real value when it is no value, and if it ever has to be cashed out, it's of no value because no one will pay cash for it. The only people buy it is because you have to bribe them to buy it. Now, even when they're digital, if it was, so that's the real question. And again,
what's the real question? Have I not just covered everything sensibly enough?
Okay, sorry. So you think it's sensible to say that the stock market, all the equity invested in the stock market is FDIC insured? You think that's sensible? Reaction gesture? Indicating that's just pretty much the most ludicrous thing I think you've ever done?
What did you say anything there at the end? I'm sorry, I just didn't notice if you did.
The argument would be made it'd be inflationary not in the sense that everybody tomorrow changes their habits and spends their savings. They're
Right.
not going to do that. They're not going to spend their savings. They're not
No.
going to spend their investment capital.
No.
So if I change the rich man's stock into a cash vault full of cash,
No. Having the rich man's stock and selling up the entire stock market obviously just confuses matters so much that it doesn't become explanatory. It becomes a massive confusion. If people like me in America, how many would there be? 200 million people like me with deposits, change them to cash. It would not be inflationary because there would not be any more buying power.
Well, again, if you're just going to limit it to the fucking bank accounts that are not supposed to be invested in the stock market, that's a different question, isn't it? That's not what you said. You said all the digits. Well, all the digits aren't representing just fucking deposit accounts. I mean, deposit accounts that are savings accounts. So if you're going to tell me that if we gave people cash for their money they put in as cash and we gave them back their cash today, again, I told you why there has to be some sort of mechanism to give the cash back and leak it back, where you use the same cash over and over again. So you give one man cash, he spends the cash, you get the cash back again, and then you give it to somebody else so he can spend his cash. But you've got to let the cash go through the system. You can't give everybody fucking cash. That's like giving everybody fucking gold. I use gold as an example. If we had a gold standard, we couldn't just make up bricks of gold. We'd have to wait. We'd give people their gold, and then we'd wait for them to use it so we could get it back again and give it to somebody else.
And all the cash out there would be guaranteed just exactly the same that all the digits that are out there now would be guaranteed.
And so again, all the digits are guaranteed. They're not all guaranteed, so this conversation is broken.
Are the same people with the same vociferousness. No, that's shoutiness. With the same vociferousness. In the same reality. The same authorities come in behind the digits just like they come in behind the cash.
Well, again, they're coming in, and I'm perfectly comfortable with them coming in behind deposits. And as I stated, I don't see any reason why the Fed never should have increased the deposit insurance on the mega wealthy by giving, raising the limit from 50,000 to 250,000. Because again, in an emergency, the last thing you want to do is to be protecting people's obscene wealth.
You can pay your taxes in cash, or you can pay your taxes in digits. That's just one of the things that they do. But
well, we know that whatever you pay them in is going to be cash when it gets to the Federal Reserve. So again, this is a moot conversation. It's converted into cash by the Federal Reserve. So you can pay your taxes with a bank check, but when it goes to the Federal Reserve, it's going to be noticed that this is a tax payment, and we get to convert this one into cash.
Might have to do more things to guarantee the digits are always on par with the cash, but they know what those extra things are and always do them, because it doesn't bear thinking about if they don't. They absolutely must guarantee at all times that digits are equivalent to cash.
Well, again, I'm sorry. You want me to be generous and say you're so preposterously oversimplified this that you've destroyed all meaning, that the FDIC insurance does not insure every single investment in the United States. So this is just, sorry, but this is nonsense. If I invest in another company, if a company calls me up and say, we got a deal for you, you can invest in our company, I'm not FDIC insured. I mean, it doesn't matter if I write the check on a bank account. That digit is not FDIC insured. I'm not going to get my money back.
So they do.
obviously that cash isn't moving in the economy. He's not spending it.
No, it's you start then going on to confusion about selling the entire stock market, and then you get all sorts of confusions about if somebody buys...
Well, look, you brought this up, you shit for brains, okay? I didn't. You asked the incomplete, inarticulate question and said all digits are the same when they're obviously not. So you're the one with the stupid wrong premise, so don't tell me I got something wrong. You said all digits.
From some, you can't sell the entire stock market because somebody's got to sell it to somebody, and then somebody's got it and they'd have to sell it. It becomes monstrous. It's quite clear. The whole explanatory thing that I'm trying to...
No, what's quite clear is there's a ton of claims on cash. There's a ton of things denominated in dollars saying this is good for a certain amount of cash, like a Google stock. And some of those claims have real integrity, and some of those claims have no integrity. That's the fact. Every dollar sign is not equal.
But it was quite clear. When you have 200 million people like me with bank statements with deposits on them, we change them over to cash, what changes? Nothing. That's just now, you've accepted it. It's obvious. There's no inflationary point there.
No, I'm sorry, there's an inflationary point if you print the cash to do that, and you don't have some mechanism to guarantee the integrity of the cash in the future. So again, you can't print $8 trillion worth of cash, put it into the economy, and then tell to the rest of the world your currency's just fine. That's not going to sell. No one's going to believe that. If I heard Spain say it, I'm not going to believe it. If I heard if Ireland said tomorrow, look, we just printed $8 trillion worth of fucking Irish money, whatever the fuck that would be, and no problem, don't worry about it, doesn't change anything. I think it changes something.
But this video is to, I think I've got it over now, I think you've got it, that the government, all those people who guarantee the cash are the same people that guarantee the digits.
Well, again, they're guaranteeing accounts, specific kinds of accounts that could create specific kind of digits to be used for specific kinds of transactions and purposes. They are not guaranteeing any digit created for any purpose. So if a bank just farts out a digit to George Bush's brother or sister or mother-in-law or some other bullshit, you know, that digit is not FDIC insured.
Or, if you like, no, they don't really guarantee the securities, but if the securities go wrong, they guarantee that they will do everything within their power to see that digits maintain their parity with cash.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand this conversation. I'm sorry. You keep talking like digits aren't checks and that checks don't have names on them. Checks have names on them. The issuer of the digit's name is on the digit. All digits aren't alike. All digits, when they go from one place to another, they have a name on them. Alright? You have to be able to get the cash from the guy who gave you the digit. That's what the Fed fucking does. Again, what's the point of me having this conversation? The Fed does it. The Fed sits there and looks at the people's digits and says whose name's on this digit and whose name's on that digit, and let's figure out who owes who what. So I mean, don't tell me that they're all the same. They're not all the same. And if you end up getting digits from a bank that went bankrupt yesterday, you're going to be in big fucking trouble. Because they're bankrupt. And your digit isn't any good.
At all times. The authorities do. The authorities that come in behind cash are the authorities that come in behind digits and maintain.
You don't have to come in behind cash. So again, this premise is so fucking broken in so many ways. The only thing you need behind cash is the fucking absolute confidence that they're not going to just start printing the fucking money. That's what guarantees the cash. The cash doesn't need any other guarantee except protection from being printed or counterfeited. That's it. if it has those protections, it doesn't need any fucking guarantee. You can't guarantee the commodity. The commodity is already cash. It doesn't need to be guaranteed by cash. It's already cash.
It's par value. You can swap from one to the other anytime you like. And we've established in this video...
That's the whole point. You can't do that, especially when the wheel fell off the car. So the wheel fell off the car. It's not regularly operating procedure. You can't just smoke your cigarette and talk on your cell phone and listen to the radio and have your arm out the window and do your regular procedure. The wheel just fell off the fucking car. Things are going to change radically. All kinds of crap's going to happen. Sparks are going to fly. Metal's going to be turned into little elements again. There's going to be all kinds of shit that's going to fucking happen, and it ain't going to have anything to do with any fucking regular procedure.
If people like me, 200 million people in the United States, all swap from having digits to having cash, nothing comes to pass.
Of course it does, so I guess, look, there's just no point in arguing this. There's just no point. The only way cash has value is to maintain the fact of its rarity. This is words used by all the little economists and everybody. At least they get it. They understand that gold is valuable because it's rare. Didn't you listen to Forbes say that? Didn't you hear Forbes say that? Gold's valuable because it's rare. It's just rare enough. It's just the right amount of rare. Well, guess what? Cash ain't going to be rare if you start printing it.
There's nothing will happen. People will get bored with it and then swap back. Swap, swap. There's no extra buying power, they just swap. And we've all...
Yeah, this is... Before digits, the swap was a bank written on a bank account, a receipt from the bank, your bank book. This was the transition. But yeah, you didn't own cash anymore, you owned some other piece of paper, an IOU from the bank. And we know that the IOUs can't be paid immediately because the money gets invested. So the savings and look, go back to the fucking It's a Wonderful Life movie and the savings and loan. And the line in the movie where the guy says, look, you know, your money isn't in the bank. It's not in the vault over here. You can come into the bank and ask me for the money, but this is a savings and loan. When you put your money in here, you are investing in your neighbor's house. You are helping them own their home, just like they helped you own yours. And that's why this institution works. It all works in the end. It all gets paid. Everybody pays their bills. But you just can't come in here and say, give me the money now, because this institution works over time. And so if you want your money, you're going to have to wait 30 days.
Got the choice to do that now. And if freakily we all see something on the television and want to do it, we all want to go to cash for some reason, nothing changes.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't agree with your theory on the nothing changed theory. I don't agree that this is how the system works. So, yeah, we're fundamental. This just makes absolutely no sense. I explained it as best I could, that digits are claims on stuff, ultimately. They can be converted into cash. Cash has monetized them. But they're not a claim on cash in the sense that you can demand cash now, immediately. They're a claim on stuff. And the stuff can produce cash. The stuff is supposed to be worth cash. So you can sell the stuff for cash to produce the cash. But you have to go through the procedure of selling the stuff that the digit is a claim on. So the digit represents Google stock. You can't just say, Google, give me cash. You have to sell Google, get the cash, and then give the person the cash.
The parity between cash and digits. It's a problem that's been going on for hundreds of years.
Well, whatever. This is just... I'm sorry. It hasn't been going on for hundreds of years. FDIC insurance wasn't invented for hundreds of years. So this is a ludicrous conversation. You keep saying things that just are not fucking true.
And this is what the authorities know about, and this is why they come in so strong behind digits, like they come in strong behind cash.
This is just nonsense. They obviously don't come in strong behind the digits that somebody got ripped off on on a terrible bank loan. They're not saving everybody. No, they're saving the rich from their bankruptcy.
People to maintain the idea in people's heads that they can hold cash or they can hold digits, and it's exactly the same.
Well, it's not exactly the same, and frankly, anybody who thinks it's the same is bought into a fallacy, because now your cash is not going to be worth shit. Okay, even if you're FDIC insurance, you're actually on the list of the people that actually get it, because they have $30 billion insuring $7 trillion of promises. So somehow we're not going to have a wheel fall off that's going to cost more than $30 billion somehow. And if we do have a wheel off that costs more than $30 billion, then somehow things are going to be so goddamn good when that happens that we're going to have so much revenue coming into the Treasury that we're not going to have to worry. We can just convert the money into FDIC insurance. No, they're going to print the fucking shit. And then my cash isn't worth anything. So what the fuck good is my insurance if they're going to pay me off in money that isn't worth anything, that they've deflated out of meaning? So yeah, if you think your money's guaranteed, think again. Alright, it's time to start thinking about, filling your bank vault full of Twinkies or some other goddamn thing, because cash ain't going to be worth shit, because it seems clear that these guys have sentenced it to death. They're going to kill the fucking cash. They're gonna do the fucking German print the money bullshit all over again. $1 million motherfucking bread.
It's almost, yeah, you've got it now. You've got it. Same authorities, same power comes in behind a digit as it comes in behind cash. There's no difference at all.
Well, you can keep saying it. You say it over and over and over, and it's not the truth. There is nothing protecting most of the digits are not FDIC insured digits. They're not. They're investment accounts. They're not FDIC insured.
Good. Yes. Please. Please, thank you. Yes.
No. E-Trade accounts are not FDIC insured. Brokerage accounts are not FDIC insured. Let's go. Savings accounts are. Okay, the part of a rich man's fortune he wants to put in safe assets or in cash, those are insured. The cash portion of his portfolio is FDIC insured. The rest of his portfolio is not FDIC insured.
Surely, yes. Okay, I'll leave it there. Is there anything, I'll call this again, or again number 2. And obviously if you want to come back and say, if you've got some quibbles with it, well, naturally you will anyway. But I'm only too willing to go to the end with this.
Yeah, are you willing? Okay, because the end isn't going to be pretty for you, because there's absolutely no way you're going to demonstrate to me how most of the digits floating around between banks are FDIC insured digits.
Because it is what's coming between us, dear. And I'm sure we can sort it out, because it's, in inmendham immortal words, it's not that complicated. In Nick's words, though, but it is kind of tricky.
Yeah. Savings accounts aren't investment accounts, so that part's pretty simple. Risk accounts aren't the same as no risk accounts, which savings accounts are supposed to pretty much be. So there are legitimate claims on cash, and there are not legitimate claims on cash. And if you own Google stock and your stock is falling, you don't have any legitimate claim on cash until it's till the market decides what that shit is worth. How else to say that? We certainly know the last share isn't going to be the same guarantee as the first share sold. We know that's a fact, don't we? We can at least agree on that. Oh, hummingbird. Anyway, not the one. Rained. It's getting a drink. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what value this has beyond getting to the point of recognizing why you have to preserve the integrity of cash, and that you preserve the integrity of cash by not printing cash. If that's the one we really got to understand. You think it doesn't matter how much cash is loose and everything will be just fine. And I just don't see how you can think that, how there's evidence of that. There's 500 times more cash in existence now than there was in 1985, and if you look at inflation, it's about the same number. Cars are 5 times more expensive. Most things, houses are, well, 3 times at least. Certainly in this market, it's the 5-time number would be accurate. McDonald's hamburger. Most things fall into that pattern of being pretty commensurate to their inflation with the fact of how the money supply, in terms of cash supply, how the cash supply has been increased. Coincidence? I don't think it's a coincidence.